This is the Tristan Law Show. If it's your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Tristan Law, semi-retired pro wrestler, and today, I'm your host. Well, you know, we got WWE Money in the Bank last night. And you know, John Cena, he didn't just lose. I think that he got exposed. Naomi snapped. Seth Rollins, he survived hell. R-Truth reminded us why we love wrestling. And Chad Gable out-wrestled every single person on Saturday. Look, thank you so much for joining me. I just want to let you know this, that we all watch Money in the Bank. And I'm not here to read back exactly what happened to you because you watched it already. You know the results, you know what happened. What we are going to talk about today is why it happened, and I want to hear what you think too. So what you can do, you can call the promo hotline at any single time, 973-826-0101. Leave a message. I can play your message live on the air. And you can also participate in the chat, whether you are watching this live or on demand. We've got so much to unpack today. So let's just go right into the main event, right? In that match, I can tell you this. God, I can't be cussing because it's too damn early. But I can tell you this, though. I think that was probably... I think this whole event as a whole definitely redeemed the WWE from that crap that we got 2 weeks ago, which was Saturday night's main event. I think that WWE really put their best foot forward at that night. And granted, every time you step up to the plate, you can't hit a home run. But last night, I think they definitely hit a home run. Looking at that main event, John Cena tagging out intentionally. Was that intentional? Well, John Cena tagging out instantly. Was that intentional or was it just him checking out? Me, personally, if you ask me, I don't really think that John Cena even wanted to be in the match. Cody Rhodes is the one that booked the match with his brother, the same exact brother that sat there at WrestleMania 41 and watched him get his balls kicked in by John Cena. I don't know. Find a new brother, Cody Rhodes. But either way, I think the storytelling in that match alone was incredible. You had John Cena, 30-year veteran. You had Cody Rhodes, who's been wrestling for, 15 years? Something like that. But in that time that he's been wrestling, right, he is the son of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. So definitely, you know, that knowledge is there as well, too. And then you got Jey Uso, the son of Rikishi, you know, in the bloodline and everything else like that as well, too. So, you know, you're definitely getting really good wrestling knowledge in the ring. And then you had Logan Paul. The question I had was, how are John Cena and Logan Paul's egos going to coexist? Look, I think that John Cena just found his ego. He just started, as some of the cool people would say, John Cena just started smelling himself, right? He started deciding that he was going to do what he do and not worry about anybody else. He was going to finish his career on his terms by any means necessary. But then you got Logan Paul. Logan Paul's been an ego since before YouTube was a thing, right? And just watching those two in the ring just eventually just implode, it was like, man, they could probably still win this match because John Cena got that whole entire low blow that he can use. He can just kick him in and kick Cody Rhodes or Jey Uso in the jewels, and that could be the end of the match. But Logan Paul, I don't know. Logan Paul growing up, Logan Paul smelling himself. What alternate timeline is this? I'll tell you this how it works in pro wrestling. In pro wrestling, right? Semi-retired pro wrestling, Tristan Law, your host. In pro wrestling, what you don't do as the person that's a Johnny No-Timer, like Logan Paul, you don't dictate what's going to happen with the match. You listen to the veteran. John Cena is the veteran, and Logan Paul has no right to be decided when he tags in and when he tags out. If John Cena says that he's going to tag in, he's going to tag in, and you're going to shut up and you're going to get out and go in the ring. Because nobody likes a Mr. Know-It-All. And Logan Paul, right? Because Logan Paul, because you're so great in the ring. Because you seem to pick this thing up naturally. You're Mr. Know-It-All. You know more than John Cena. But speaking of John Cena, has John Cena finally become the villain? Or was he always a villain? Let me go to the chat real quick. Heel Vegas here. He says, good morning and God bless. Good morning back to you. He says he didn't watch the main event. God, he didn't watch the main event. You should have watched the main event, bruh. The main event was like the icing of the cake. if you had to read about it on YouTube, if you have to hear about it from me on YouTube or read about it somewhere on the internet or have somebody else tell you, you missed out. But let me go through your whole message. You probably explain why you didn't watch it. He says he didn't watch the main event, couldn't watch the main event. Men's Money in the Bank drained his soul with horrible booking decision regarding the winner. Seth didn't need it. Cena is and always will be a villain. I think that Cena has been a villain the whole entire time. Maybe that's something we can get into. But let me tell you, I think the men's Money in the Bank, and we're going to definitely get into that match as well too. I can't believe that drained your soul. You turned off your television or locked your phone and said, you know what, go to bed because of what happened. I ain't gonna lie. I watched SmackDown on Saturday and on Friday, and when they got in after the women's 6-man tag, I'm like, there's still more? Nah, that's when I decided to go phoning in and go to bed. But I'll definitely tell you this, you missed out. You missed out watching it in real time because John Cena could have ended that match with the low blow like he normally does. And I feel 100% what he should do is that when he and Cody finally meet again, the way that they handle that set of business is that when John Cena goes for the low blow, Cody Rhodes goes, pulls out a cup of his own, and then maybe low blows John Cena back. But all he did was just hit John Cena with the title. I love the storytelling. I love the way that they're telling the story. They're not overusing the nut shot. But what I did not see, what was not in my cards, what you heel Vega missed live. Let me tell you, I was working last night and I couldn't look at the phone when I was doing my actual work, right? And I was listening to Money in the Bank and I heard everybody goes, who is that? Who is that? And I turned the television. I turned on the phone. I unlocked the phone. And you know what the hell I saw? I saw this man right here, R-Truth. Where the hell did he come from? Let me tell you something. Look, y'all know I don't like cussing early because it's the God's day. God forgive me, I have to do it real quick. But when I saw it, I said, holy fuck. Because WWE just made the biggest babyface in the WWE, and they didn't even do it in a match. The way that they did it was they took one moment off the internet and made R-Truth the biggest babyface, the biggest good guy in the WWE. R-Truth, tell me if I'm wrong. Whether you're watching live right now or you're watching on demand, tell me right now. And we also got a poll. We got a poll going on right now, live poll. And what we're trying to figure out is how was WWE Money in the Bank? Was it good or was it bad? 1/3 of the audience says that it's bad, while another 2/3 said it was good. I can tell you who says that it was bad. I'm going to say that it was heel Vega. But R-Truth is now in the same exact stratosphere as Jey Uso, as Cody Rhodes, as John Cena, maybe even Logan Paul, right? Seth Rollins. A couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, Logan Paul, R-Truth was the laughing stock of the WWE. But that man came out serious and changed it for everybody. You didn't expect him to be there. And I hate the goofiness that when R-Truth came out there, they go, oh, maybe they didn't tell him that he got released. Why does R-Truth have to come back and be the goof? Why can't R-Truth just come back and be somebody that's serious in the terms of pro wrestling? If you go to WWEshop.com, we'll go to WWEshop.com right now together. Right? We're going to go to WWEshop.com. There's a new shirt out. There's a new shirt out for R-Truth. And no, I don't want to go to Minute Maid to get merch. I want to go to WWEshop.com because I want to see this and I want to tell you. Right now, they're doing free shipping on orders over $29. Let's use the code WWE29. I might go ahead and cop me a shirt. But either way, they have a Ron Killings shirt. Here's the question. Who the hell is Ron Killings? Oh, you don't know who Ron Killings is? I'll tell you who Ron Killings is. Ron Killings is the first. He is the first Black, African-American guy that looked just like me. NWA World's Champion. Why is he getting a hand clap? Because R-Truth, let's just say it's a whole entire name change, right? He's using his legit name, Ron Killings. Maybe R-Truth was the funny guy. Maybe R-Truth was the comic relief. But Ron Killings is the man that won. That he's a two-time NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. Maybe that's the guy that we got. Maybe that's the guy that's going to be able to stand toe-to-toe with people like John Cena, Randy Orton, all those big-name people now, because, we ain't laughing at him anymore. You done laughed at R-Truth so much that they took his job from him, and it wasn't even funny. Go ahead and copy a Ron Killings shirt right now, because you know what? This guy right here, he's a future main eventer. I think the worst 4 or 5 minutes of Saturday night's main event was R-Truth going out there and losing to John Cena. I think that match could have been a longer match, and it wasn't even for the championship. But did it have to be? I thought that R-Truth was going to come out there serious for once, but he came out there as Ron Cena. What the hell is Ron Cena? Your childhood idol? But let me tell you this. At the press conference after Money in the Bank, Triple H was asked by somebody in the media, was R-Truth really released or, and brought back because of fan backlash, or was it something, was it a part of the show? Triple H said, "You enjoying the show?" "Yeah, it's a part of the show." Listen to me. Nice to meet you. Some retired pro wrestler, Tristan Law. Your host, Tristan Law Show. When I went to pro wrestling school, one of the things that I was taught was that every single thing is a work. Work meaning a part of the show. It's a part of the act. Okay? Work means a part of the act. Work means it's staged. So when you say work, it's a part of the joke. It's, work. So we were always taught every single thing is a work. And if you're watching live right now, smash that like button. Go ahead, hit that like button. It lets me know that you're alive. Every single thing in pro wrestling is a work. And when they tell us that it's not a work, it's still a work. You 100%, everybody in the internet running around saying, you're so stupid because you fell for it. Now you can stop complaining now. Listen to me. You really think that WWE wants you to think? They want me to think? They want us to think that we have any kind of influence on what happens in the WWE? Huh? You think that they want us to believe that when they do something that we don't like, that all we gotta do is voice our opinion that's going to happen? Let me tell you something. I don't care what nobody tells me. R-Truth was released. He was released from his contract. You know why? For whatever reasons they decided. They also released Carlito. The only way that I will believe that it is not a work is if Carlito comes back as well too. Because Carlito got released as well too. And there's nobody really up in arms that Carlito got released. Right? What has Carlito done in the past 2 years that he's been in the WWE? What, being in the Judgment Day locker room playing PlayStation? Good for him. Good for him. When you got people like R-Truth who's coming out there, everybody's looking forward to what R-Truth has to do, to what R-Truth is going to say and what he's going to do. R-Truth needed to be back. It was an injustice done by the WWE. And I think that they saw it too. Imagine being on a bus, right? Imagine being on a bus and not being the bus driver, but you're telling the bus driver to turn left or turn right. If you were able to turn, other people in the bus were able to tell the driver to go left or go right, you'd never get to where you want to go. You might get stuck on streets that can't fit the bus. Why? Because you're not a professional. What I do here is I love talking about the storylines, right? I never talk about real life people in the pro wrestling realm. I always talk about the storylines. I love to dissect the storylines. To me, it's my form of entertainment, and it's our form of entertainment as well too. So you know what? So whatever happens on TV when it comes to pro wrestling, it's fair game. So we just talk about it. Let me go look at the comments real quick because Heel Vega's on fire today. He goes, "Man, I saw clips this morning, and as happy as I am now for Ron Killings, I couldn't even feel the emotion when first watching the clip. Residual rage from Seth winning has not dissipated until now." Okay. Incorrect. There's new merchandise for Ron Killings, not R-Truth. Right, that's what I said. Look, maybe I messed up the words. Ron Killings, R-Truth. Look, his mama call him Ron. I'ma call him Ron from now on, okay? No longer R-Truth, so you don't have to worry about it. I'ma call him Ron from now on. He says that Becky, Seth... You are out of order for this. He says, Heel Vega says that Becky and Seth Hogan were winning were bad decisions. Lyra looked like a dork that can't back her word, and LA Knight is being booked like Strowman in the sense of when he finally gets pushed, it's going to be too late. You know what? I'm going to unpack that. We're going to unpack that next. But listen, if you get swerved in the realm of pro wrestling, and thank you so much for your message. If you get swerved in the realm of pro wrestling, it doesn't make you dumb. It's a part of the show, right? You're supposed to believe what they want you to believe. That's what, look, before I was a pro wrestler, I was a fan. And before you decided that you can come on the internet and talk about pro wrestling, you were a fan too. So as a fan, I love being swerved. I love being okie doke. I love being able to not predict what's going to happen next. And I did not predict R-Truth getting released, and I did not predict R-Truth coming back in less than a week. I didn't. I'd be a liar if I told you that I saw any of those things coming. And I loved it. Because when you watch Law & Order SVU, good show, by the way. Watch it on Peacock. When you watch Law & Order SVU, you have no clue what's going to happen. When somebody's going to die, when somebody's going to come back, or whatever the plot is going to be, you watch on the edge of your seat. And I like when pro wrestling can make us watch on the edge of our seat, and nobody that knows anything about pro wrestling is writing stories on the internet saying, oh my God, R-Truth is backstage, he's not being really released. Look, let's say R-Truth wasn't really released. If you knew that, would it have had the same exact impact that it would have on last night? So now that R-Truth is back, who do we get? I think we're going to get Ron Killings. I think that we are going to get the man that is a two-time NWA first black champion, world's champion. That's what I think that we're going to get. And I'm excited. When R-Truth came out there last night, there's not one ounce of goofiness on his face. No goofiness at all. It was all serious. Maybe I want to lean into the fact that maybe John Cena was the one that got him fired because John Cena wanted to ruin wrestling. So if John Cena's going to ruin wrestling, he made sure that he used his influence talking to The Rock to get rid of the thing that we like the most, and that's R-Truth. I don't know. But I'm excited that R-Truth is back. My bad. I'm excited that Ron is back. But while Cena got dropped, somebody else climbed. And she didn't just grab the briefcase, she grabbed some power. What we're going to talk about now, we are going to talk about Naomi. Naomi didn't sneak into this win. She won the women's Money in the Bank. And now that she won the women's Money in the Bank, she could trade that in. Harry, what's going on, Harry? I'm going to give Harry a hand clap. Good to see you, my friend. Always love seeing what you have to write and how you contribute. Let me just go into your message real quick. Just wait. I'm almost at 500 subscribers. Y'all know that? And when I get to 500 subscribers, y'all gonna see some serious shit. Because I'm gonna do where you can have special icons next to your name. You know, you could be a part of a membership. There's so many cool things that I'm gonna do. When people like Harry and Heel Vega come in, they're gonna get all kinds of different things next to their names and different emotes that they can use, and they're going to be a part of an elite club. And when we get to 500, yo, I'm telling you, like I said, favorite movie Back to the Future, you're going to see some serious shit. Promise you. So let's see what he said. He said, if they use this as an opportunity to give Ron a real opportunity to wrestle, it's genius. Damn it, man. How are you going to give me two hand claps back to back, man? I'm going to give you two hand claps back to back. You're right. Maybe the idea was to get rid of R-Truth, the person that we saw as funny. Maybe R-Truth, the character R-Truth, was just typecasted. R-Truth was typecasted as a comedy guy. Everybody was saying maybe he could show up in TNA and just not know that he got released. Maybe he could show up in AEW and pretend that it's the WWE. No, what we're probably going to get is Ron Killings, who ain't going to let nobody play with him, And he's going to go ahead and solidify himself because you know what? He don't got that much time left in wrestling. He's 52 years old, right? Dude, yeah, things get better with time, but I think that R-Truth is dead and Ron Killings is here to live. Thank you so much for your comment. But Naomi, looking at that woman's Money in the Bank, Naomi, she didn't just sneak into this. She took violence and veteran instincts to win that Money in the Bank. Looking at the psychology of the ladder, Naomi, she was the only one using the ladders like weapons early on in her match. Why didn't anybody else match the energy? I can tell you why. Because Naomi was the only real WWE veteran in that ring. Alexa Bliss, only been there for 12 years. Giulia has 8 years. Rhea Ripley has 11. Roxanne Perez has 7 years in wrestling. When you're looking at Stephanie Vaquer and Naomi, they both have 16 years in wrestling. However, Naomi spent the majority of her time in the WWE. She was probably gone from WWE maybe a year and a half. So she has the muscles that she can flex, that she understands what's at stake here. If you ask me, I think that Naomi, she had the most to lose out of that match. Man, Naomi, we are going to unpack Naomi's box right now. Naomi's the Naomi of 2025. She's not the glow dancer. She's not the girl going out there doing the dance. I don't know. I'm trying to do the Naomi dance. Right? She's not the one doing the Naomi dance. Right? She is the real closer. Okay, look. Shelton Benjamin. I don't know if it's the real Shelton Benjamin, but you know what? If your mama calls you Shelton, I'm going to call you Shelton. Shelton Benjamin comes in the comments and says that it's horrible booking. All right. So the question I have for everybody watching right now, looking at both, and whether you're watching live or on demand, for both Money in the Bank matches, who did you want to win? In the men's Money in the Bank match, it was Seth Rollins. In the women's Money in the Bank match, which we're talking about right now, it was Naomi. Let me know, and I'm going to read it, and if it's offline after the episode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment, because I read back and I comment every single comment that you write. This version of Naomi, that face that you see right there, that face, look at that face. This is my favorite version of Naomi. The dancing stuff was nice. It was nice to dance. The glow-in-the-dark stuff, it was cool visually. But the change of attitude has made Naomi a main event player. She's no longer playing in the comfortable realm that I was a dancer before I got here, so now I'm going to tie that into pro wrestling. What she understood when she left is that she needed to survive. And in order for her to survive, she had to get rid of Jade Cargill. Maybe she saw that, hey, look, there can't be that many black girls in the pool. I got to get rid of one. But let me tell you this, though. It's not Naomi's first time being champion. Naomi's been champion before. I think she was SmackDown Women's Champion. But it didn't do nothing for me. I didn't care if Naomi won or lost. But with this whole entire thing, by Naomi being dangerous, now I wonder to myself, you know what? What's next for Naomi? Because winning the Money in the Bank means that you can cash it in against any champion. I think against any champion, if you cash in the Money in the Bank against anybody other than a main event, main roster champion, I think you're goofy. Oh, yeah. I think you're really goofy for that. And the reason why I think you're goofy is because of this. Winning the Money in the Bank is the equivalent to getting a blank check that you can write for anything up to $1 million. If I gave you a blank check right now and said you can write any amount on it from $1 to $1 million, you're going to write that check for $500,000? Look, if it was my check, I tell that you'd be an idiot if you wrote that check for $500,000 because it's going to bounce. So you need to write that check for maybe like $25. You could probably get a good $100. That's it. But the Money in the Bank could put you at the top of the food chain. Are you going to go cash that in for the Intercontinental Championship? It could put you at the top of the food chain. You're going to go to NXT and go cash it in for the North American Championship? Are you a goof? Who do I see Naomi cashing that championship on? She got to pick right now. It's either Io Sky or Tiffany Stratton. But honestly, I think that she should wait. The reason why I think that she should wait is because, you know what? Naomi right now, she's on the up and up. She's on the roller coaster. She's finally untypecasting herself. She's doing the same exact thing that that hopefully that they do with R-Truth right now, is that they move them apart from the characters who you saw them from before. You move them so far from those characters that you don't even know who they are. Like, for example, I'll never forget, I was working a job a couple years ago, right? And I asked these people, I said, who is Michael Jordan? They said, oh, the guy that makes shoes. He was out of basketball so much. He's obviously, I mean, I don't gotta tell you who Michael Jordan is. But Michael Jordan was out of basketball so long, separated from basketball so long, that he was known as the shoe guy. So maybe we can utilize this moment in time to separate Naomi and R-Truth, Ron, Big Daddy Ron, from who they were before, and now forge these new characters. Maybe you don't have to leave the WWE. Maybe we don't have to do this thing to where you go away for a little bit, and then when you come back, you try to be somebody new. But I think that Naomi's on the up and up right now. And her being on the up and up, her getting away from who she was, the glow, and now being the dangerous one, Naomi, I think that right now is not the best time for her to cash in the Money in the Bank. Also, she has problems like Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill is not going to let Naomi live. They are going to have to live on two separate planets in order just for one to live. But what about Bianca Belair? Bianca Belair might feel a little bit of hate. Maybe we're going to finally eventually find out that Bianca Belair had something to do with Naomi getting hurt. I mean, with Jade Cargill getting hurt. I don't know. It's a lot for us to think about. But for right now, I think that Naomi should just use the Money in the Bank briefcase as a weapon. You know, Queen of the Ring is coming up. You know what? If anybody wants to crown so bad, just crown them with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Let's go to the chat. Heel Vega says, Shelton, I respect your opinion, but I disagree. Naomi's a talented professional wrestler. She's doing her best work. Right now, I think she's doing her best work. I think that before, nobody cared if Naomi's character lived or died, or if she won or lost. Nobody really cared. The glow is nice, right? But like nobody really cares about that. Shelton said before that Naomi's new song should be "I'm Irrelevant and Have Always Been." Okay, that's Shelton Benjamin. Heel Vega says Tristan Law throwing a stray at Austin Theory. That's what I do. He also says that Naomi should wait and ride the momentum. Yep. Her story with Jade is not over, and Naomi will probably fall back a bit while Jade rises to cash in on the ruin. Jade's moment, or possibly on Bianca. Yo, Queen of the Ring is coming. Jade Cargill said that she's going to win. So maybe when she cashes in that belt, yo, listen, the way that WWE is doing the storytelling these days is that the way that it could be is that they separate the two ladies for a time. Jade Cargill goes on to win the WWE Women's King of the Ring. And after winning the King of the Ring, she goes on to challenge at SummerSlam, a woman's champion of her choice. And then when she wins, Naomi says, nah, bitch, it's my turn. I'm not going to let you have anything better than me. I can see that. I pop for that. Me and one of my good friends are going to be at SummerSlam. We're going to be at SummerSlam hand in hand and talking about earlier about loving pro wrestling. Let me tell you, me and that brother, we both love pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is one of the things that joins us. And I can't wait to sit in MetLife Stadium with him and laugh and cry and have a great time over WrestleMania. I didn't forget you. I still need to zell you. So is Naomi finally believable? Is she on top of the card? Or is she just a mid-carder? Looking at the poll right now, how was WWE Money in the Bank? 60% said that it was good, while 40% said that it was bad. What was bad about it? Was it the two? Please don't tell me those two matches, the Money in the Bank where we didn't get what we want, where Seth Rollins won and Naomi won. that because of that, it just threw off the whole thing. Who did you want to win? Naomi showed us how to take the Money in the Bank. But on the men's side, Seth Rollins, he showed us how to survive. Barely. But let's unpack that chaos. Everybody hates that Seth won. And I will say this. Even though Seth won, I'm not really too upset that Seth Rollins won. Here's my question for you, and I'm talking to you. Whether you're watching this live or on demand, would you have seen somebody fresh win the Money in the Bank? Who did you want to win the Money in the Bank? And don't say LA Knight, because we know it's LA Knight. Don't say it's LA Knight, because we know. We know that you wanted LA Knight to win. I wouldn't have been upset if LA Knight won, but I have a problem when LA Knight wins. The first thing I'm looking at is how many times can LA Knight even come up short, right? I think, though, that LA Knight's only problem in pro wrestling is that he's only interesting when he's chasing for the belt. When he is out there running around trying to get the belt, he's interesting because he could talk in the mic and he wrestles just as good as anybody else. But when he has the belt, it's just meh. Great wrestler, great talker, but just meh as champion. What I think, and I've said this before, that LA Knight, when he becomes champion again, he needs to be put into dangerous situations as a champion, which adds extra layer to his character. That's what I think was the problem with Cody Rhodes' first title run in the WWE. That there was nobody that really came for him, right? Logan Paul. You know, the only person I ever saw that put him in danger, and I'm not talking about John Cena. The only person I ever saw that put him in danger during this whole entire run, besides John Cena, was Kevin Owens. Nobody else. And Kevin Owens is out right now, and when he gets his next situation figured out, when that brother comes back, and he's built like a brick shit house, he might have abs. He's going to shock everybody. Not even going to see it coming. Rollins, though, I will admit, Seth Rollins was the least interesting person in that match. Didn't want him to win. Didn't want him to win at all. But I think that is a safe bet for now. And it worked for the story that he's trying to tell. Because he, too, is trying to ruin wrestling. Speaking of ruining wrestling, everybody's saying that he should be the one that cashes in on John Cena. No! Listen. Hi, friends. Tristan Law. Listen to me what I'm telling you. The only person that should be able to take that belt off of John Cena, it has to be Cody Rhodes. Listen to me. Listen as I tell you. I'll hold up the mic so you can hear me. I like my little blue little thingy that I got on the mic? Yeah, upgraded. Upgrades. The reason why Cody Rhodes has to be the person that beats John Cena and takes that belt off of him is because if anybody else beats John Cena, everything leading up to WrestleMania and even up to now is for nothing. John Cena talking about he's going to ruin wrestling, it would have been for nothing. Cody Rhodes losing that championship, it would have been for nothing. The only person that can beat John Cena and take that belt off for the stories to even make sense it has to be Cody Rhodes. I'm not saying that I'm a big Cody Rhodes fan and that's the reason why I'm saying it. I'm saying it because if it's anybody else, it's a disconnect. When I sit around with my friends and we're having fantasy booking conversations, and I always say, okay, great. So if R-Truth was to had won, right? We're talking about R-Truth, right? Big Ron, right? If Big Ron Killings was to had won and beat John Cena a couple weeks ago if the championship was on the line, what's next? If that was to have happened, we wouldn't have gotten last night. If Seth Rollins cashes in, we won't get the story, the long-term storytelling of R-Truth eventually becoming the champion. Sometimes when you go the way that it's supposed to be, you're going to get what you really want. So sometimes you just have to be, you just got to be a little bit patient. I think it's worked. I think Seth Rollins winning Money in the Bank, I think it worked for the story. And all we have to do is just sit around and wait, because you know what? Seth Rollins is just going to pick the bones. And you know what? Seth Rollins hasn't even got to pick the bones. He's got Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker on his side. And I think that both of those guys are very impressive with Seth. People are running around saying that Braun Breaker is not good, though. Look, let me tell you. Braun Breaker is with Seth Rollins because he's good and he's going to get better. Is he just a spare? Goldberg was just a spare, and everybody's so happy when Goldberg shows up.
Oh, yeah.
Except for me. I don't want Goldberg to show up. That's going to be another episode maybe down the line. But Braun Breaker is the future of the company. He is the future. Whether you like it or not, Braun Breaker is here to stay. I said it. Sorry. Braun Breaker is only going to grow into himself. Braun Breaker has only been wrestling for a cup of coffee. Braun Breaker made his debut he's only 27 years old, and he made his debut in 2020. He's only been wrestling for 5 years. Look, some of y'all been at y'all jobs for 5 years and still not even good at it. And you expect Braun Breaker to be like the creme de la creme? It might take you. Look, okay, how long did it take me? It probably took me about a good 5 years for it to click for me, pro wrestling. But what I had to do was I had to go into it and I had to work at it really hard, because I didn't have the stuff, the factory that Braun Breaker has in a performance center, right? I had to go out and I had to travel, I had to get my own bookings, and I had to do things in order to be a wrestler. If Braun Breaker was not good, they would have released him. Braun Breaker's good. He has a lot of potential. He has a lot of upside to him. And if you're sleeping on Braun Breaker, I'm telling you, take your head off the pillow. Let's go to the chat. Harry Silvo says that he doesn't care who wins Money in the Bank. He's just here for the show. You know what, brother? I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you for that. Because you know what? You seem like the kind of person who is not interested in how the rabbit gets pulled out the hat, in how the person gets sawed in half. You just want to see the person get sawed in half and just be wild and amazed. I appreciate you for that. Let me tell you about pro wrestling, though, right? Pro wrestling is one of those things that it is a release for a lot of people, right? When I first moved back to New York and didn't have, too many friends because all my friends moved on, they all grew up, pro wrestling was there for me. Whenever I went through a bad time in my life, pro wrestling is there for me. When I went through a good time in my life, or going through a good time in my life, pro wrestling is there for me. Pro wrestling has showed up for a lot of people in this world when other people in their families won't show up for them. So somebody like Harry Silvo, who just likes to watch the show and just be entertained, brother, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And I appreciate you coming here, because anybody knows when you come to the Tristan Law Show that all of your opinions are valid. I don't invalidate anybody's opinion or make them feel like any kind of way. And speaking of that, I want to introduce you to the Promo Hotline. Anything that you want to complain about, anything you want to praise in pro wrestling, I want you to be a part of the show. I want you to call 973-826-0101. You can call that number at any time of day. If you just watch Monday Night Raw and you don't like it, call it and cut a promo. If you don't like the fact that Seth Rollins won the Money in the Bank, you call back and cut a promo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have one show per month. That's my goal, to have one show per month where you are the star. If you want to ask a question, you call the Promo Hotline and you leave a question. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you part of the show. I'm going to play your messages live. Keep it PG, because my mama be listening. Keep it PG. Whatever you got to get off your chest, get it off your chest. You know what? I was talking about it earlier. Let me see if anybody even decided to call it now, because, some of y'all are crazy. Somebody called. Let's see. All right, you know what? I wasn't even prepared for this. Let's see if I can set that up so that y'all can listen to it, because somebody had a message. I didn't inspect this. I think that's the best part about, doing the Tristan Law Show, is that we all have the opportunity to do these things. So give me a second. Let me just connect this, because we got a message from a viewer. And we're going to play this message live on the air. All right, let's go back to the message. Let's hear this message. Nope, it's not playing. Okay, hold on. We're going to try again. Technical difficulty. That was a really good message because I read it. I can read it before I...
Let's talk about Money in the Bank.
Okay, here we go. He wants to talk about Money in the Bank. Here we go.
Let's talk about Money in the Bank. Naomi winning was correct. Oh, sorry. Let me introduce myself. Hill Vega, Middletown, New York. Thank you. So, Naomi, correct winner. Dom Mysterio, Octagon Jr., yeah, it was good for what it was, I guess, for a match that wasn't advertised or set until the prior show, Worlds Collide. But, you know, it is what it is with that. That was somewhat enjoyable. Let's get into Lyra Becky. Becky going over made Lyra look like a dork who can't back up her word. And then we get to the men's Money in the Bank, which was the main event for me because that's the last match that I watched. Because Seth did not need the briefcase. He's already got 3 stories going on. He's the leader of a new faction. That's one story. He's in a feud with Punk. That's another story. He's also got his own feud with Roman. That's another story. And now he's Mr. Money in the Bank. This guy has 4 stories.
And that's what pro wrestling, what the promo hotline is for, right? You just call it, just complain or praise or anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these messages, like I said, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all of them. We're going to beat them to death because you know what? I want you to be a part of the show. It's not just about me. We're building a community here. Let's get back to WWE Money in the Bank. Thank you very much for your comments, Heel Vega. See everything you said in the chat, so you didn't say anything brand new. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate you making the show grow. But let's see, where was I? Where's my placeholder? Had a placeholder. So, is WWE overusing Seth Rollins as a crutch? And I'll check the promo hotline again before we leave in case somebody had something to say. Thank you very much, Heel Vega. And look, like I said, I just like giving you an opportunity to be a part of the show. Is WWE using Seth Rollins as a crutch? I think by listening to what he had to say and from reading what everybody said in the comments, I think that everybody feels that Seth Rollins is a crutch for Raw. But what about other people? What about El Grande Americano and Penta? They both brought the heat to that Money in the Bank match. But why didn't they get the moment? I'll tell you this. Chad Gable is a star. And after someone with that main event's performance on Worlds Collide early in the afternoon, we have a great person to win Money in the Bank, but too damn bad that Chad Gable wasn't in the match. Penta would have been nice, but then what? I think that with the acquisition of AAA, using Penta to get crossover fans from WWE, he's probably one of the best faces to do that. WWE has a lot of faces right now to cross people over from AAA. They have Penta, just mentioned him, his brother Rey Fenix, Rey Mysterio, Stephanie Vaquer. There's so many different people that they can utilize to help cross people over to AAA. That AAA is just going to be like another brand. This is what WWE is doing right now with AAA is what WWE should have did with WCW back in the day. I said it. Maybe WCW would be around one way or another. But if WWE had taken WCW and done what with AAA, if WWE had taken WCW and do with it what they're currently doing with AAA, maybe we wouldn't have gotten an AEW. Maybe we wouldn't have gotten a TNA. We probably wouldn't have gotten a resurgence of the NWA. We don't know. There's just so many different ways for us to look at it. But for what I'm saying, what AAA is being done with AAA right now is being good. So let's talk about Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa, if you ask me, I think that Solo Sikoa don't know what the hell is going on with Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa, what, you felt because R-Truth is not there, now you need to be the goof? There is nothing that I personally see in Solo Sikoa, the character. I'm not saying that, you know, that Solo Sikoa, the man, right? That he's not good at what he does, because I think he's good at what he does, right? He comes from a family with lots of lineage. But I think that he's trying to find himself right now. I think that the reason why that Jacob Fatu surpassed Solo Sikoa, is that when Solo Sikoa first got there, he didn't talk. He just came out with a little thumb and just put it up people's asses. That's all he did. But now that he has a little bit of extra, he's trying to find who he is. He's in the swimming pool trying to find who he is. And he makes a lot of faces and he does goofy things. Don't get it wrong. Anybody that knows me personally knows that I'm the biggest goof that you could ever meet. So I appreciate that. But you probably barely seen me be goofy in the ring. I don't understand how the goofiness translates to the character of Solo Sikoa. Is his character undergoing the transformation? I don't know. But you know what? He's got some problems. The problem that I'm talking about now is a problem that I saw months ago. And I made an episode about it, and I think that I said that Jacob Fatu is a problem. I talked about it, about how Jacob Fatu is going to surpass Solo Sikoa, how he's going to go on to be a champion and stuff like that. Let me tell you this. I'm going to say this, and I mean this in the most respectable way possible. R-Truth. Why I keep talking about R-Truth? R-Truth is on my mind. Jacob Fatu, under previous regime, I'm trying to put this in the right way. Jacob Fatu almost has no right being in the WWE. He doesn't. You know, based on everything that's happened to him before, he don't fit the body style. He don't fit anything to what we've been designed to be told what a WWE superstar is supposed to look like. We don't have that. So Jacob Fatu has a lot to lose. Jacob Fatu didn't come in there as a 21-year-old man. How old is Jacob Fatu? I think Jacob Fatu might be old as me. Jacob Fatu, he is 33 years old. Oh, he that young? I think he look old. He got gray hairs. It don't mean old. Jacob Fatu got no reason being in the WWE, and he's there. And he's taking that opportunity. He's running with it. Jacob Fatu was being oppressed by somebody like the likes of Solo Sikoa. And you know what? He's finally free. When I saw that face last night on Jacob Fatu, all I could think is, damn it, he's free. He does not have to worry about somebody of the likes of Solo Sikoa anymore, because he's a bigger star. He's been a bigger star since day one. Jacob Fatu, looking at everybody in the current bloodline, and we can always assume right now safely that Jacob Fatu is not a part of the bloodline right now because he decided to leave. Jacob Fatu is the biggest star in the bloodline right now. He's a bigger star than Solo Sikoa. I mean, anybody that's Samoan right now in the WWE, I'm going to dare to say that Jacob Fatu is a bigger star than all of them. Okay, except for Roman Reigns. I'm going to say Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and then Jacob Fatu. Everybody else falls underneath. Jacob Fatu is a star. Jacob Fatu is a big man, and he moves like he's 5'5", 100 pounds soaking wet with a towel on his back. Jacob Fatu is a future star, and he needed to get rid of somebody like Solo Sikoa. Let's go to the chat before we move on. Ooh, there's a lot. Damn, Hilvega, you got a lot. Are you trying to be the star of the show? I like that. That's what the promo hotline is for. Let me go ahead and do this real quick for y'all. So y'all always have it. There you go. So Hilvega says that he discussed with a really good friend of his that LA Knight is a better chaser, but the bookers need to strike when the iron is hot. LA Knight earned every bit of the momentum on his own. Yeah, I agree. Hilvega says that Seth involved in 4 stories now. He's leading a newly formed faction. He's feuding with CM Punk. He's feuding with Roman Reigns, and he's now holding the Money in the Bank briefcase. Less is more sometimes. Yeah, I agree. Less is more. But you know what? Maybe maybe looking at your question, you said that Seth Rollins is feuding with CM Punk. He's feuding with Roman Reigns. Maybe Roman Reigns and CM Punk are feuding with Seth Rollins, but Seth Rollins isn't feuding with them. I don't know. I just threw it out there. He says that Seth winning wasn't a heel guy, did a heel thing, and now I'm willing to pay to watch him fail. Bro, everybody always talks about the cash-in, the successful cash-in. What about the cash-in that's not successful? Yeah, shout out to you. Maybe everybody's going to watch now because you know what? You didn't want Seth Rollins to win. So maybe what you're going to watch for now is that, you know what? You want to see Seth Rollins fail. And you're going to be happy that he failed because our guy, LA Knight, didn't get that opportunity. He says that I truly didn't expect that message to be played. Thank you, sir. Truly didn't expect to play that message myself. Sometimes you just got to try things on the fly to see if they work. That's the thing about doing live on YouTube. So I'm not recorded. I'm always live. Let's see. He says, backpacking on earlier comment about LA Knight. Chad Gable is another example of WWE not striking while the iron's hot. Way too good to not be an important match. I hate you, Solo Sikoa is unironically hilarious. That might be the seal, and that's perfectly okay. He also says that Jacob Fatu is undeniable. It's only a matter of the time. The gray hairs are because he's got 7 kids and can't imagine the stress. Yeah, bro, 7 kids, man? Damn, he got 7 kids? Golly, imagine 7 of me running around. I just got 1 running around. Love to have another one. I don't know. We'll see down the line. Thank you so much for your comment. So Seth Rollins used strategy, and Becky Lynch used ego, and in the end, the man took the gold, but it cost her something else. Let's talk about that robbery. We're going to talk about Becky Lynch now, and that match. It was a good match. Okay, I just want to say that it was a good match. It told the story like it was supposed to, and I think there was a lot of egos just running around in Money in the Bank. They were just frolicking with the egos, and I think that Becky Lynch forcing Lyra Valkyria to crown her, I think that's the chef's kiss when it comes to petty. You know what? I beat you, now go ahead and put that belt on me. That's Lyra Valkyria in the back putting the belt on Becky Lynch. I'm not going to lie, I didn't want Becky Lynch to win because we've been there many times before. I didn't want to see that. But you know, I didn't really care if Lyra Valkyria won either. I'll just be 100% honest. I didn't care if Becky Lynch won either. I really wanted Lyra Valkyria to go in there and pull the arms off of Lyra Valkyria and just beat her with those stupid bird wings that she has. When she comes out, she does the stupid bird wings. Just beat her with the damn bird wings. That's what I would have liked. That's what I would have had and appreciated. But Lyra's suplex after, that's her potential breakout moment. I think that the suplex by Lyra Valkyria on the only reason to put Becky Lynch in the position to give her the championship is to make the Intercontinental Championship legitimate. You got someone like Lyra Valkyria, she doesn't have a following. She's not like, consistently that, she's been around for a long time and she's going to go ahead and do her thing. No, I think that by putting it on somebody like Becky Lynch and having her chase for the belt and possibly winning the belt back at the end of the summer, that's going to add a little bit more prestige to the Intercontinental Championship for the woman. Because we still got to remember the Intercontinental Championship is new for the woman. But who got elevated more in this match? Tell me in the comments. Was it Lyra Valkyria or was it Becky Lynch? If you ask me, I think that Lyra Valkyria, that she is now making the steps to go ahead and be a main eventer. That she wanted that belt so badly that she's going to beat the brakes off of a main eventer because now the championship is now on the line. Becky Lynch, I just think is another notch under Becky Lynch's belt. Like, how many belts has Becky Lynch had? Becky Lynch has so many damn belts. She had 2 belts at one time. They call it 2-belt Becky. I don't know. But I think, though, that people will invest more in Lyra Valkyria because of the chase. You want to see the struggle that she's going to put in to try to right the wrong. Didn't even turn the lights on. To right the wrong. There you go. Now the Tristan Law show started. To right the wrong of her having to be humiliated and getting and having to put the belt on Becky Lynch. I think that's going to make her a bigger star in the long run. But you know what? Let's go beyond the goal. Let's go beyond the ladder. Let's talk about something else. WWE did something that they never did before. They shared the spotlight, and I'm not talking about with UFC. We're talking about Lucha Libre and why Worlds Collide is more important than you think. Look. WWE showed Worlds Collide yesterday afternoon on YouTube, and I think they did it only for one reason. They just bought the brand, and they want American people to invest in it. Growing up as a kid in the Bronx, I have watched Lucha Libre before. I have watched AAA. I've watched CMLL. I've watched everything when I was a kid because I couldn't get enough of wrestling, but I didn't know what they were saying. But I think by them showing Worlds Collide or acquiring AAA and what they do is they're now going to have an English commentary along with Spanish commentary. I think that's going to make it bridge the gap to where it's going to be bigger than before. Me watching Worlds Collide last time made me feel like I was just watching another WWE PLE. They took, I don't know the full production value of AAA. Maybe that's something I should go take a look at. But using WWE's, production value, I think that WWE did a hell of a job with AAA yesterday. Watching Worlds Collide yesterday on YouTube, and YouTube was the best place for you to put it, because why introduce it to the American fans and put it behind a paywall? Put it behind a paywall and tell people that they got to pay money in order to watch it. I think that by it being on YouTube, and me being a YouTube guy, not only being here on YouTube talking to you, but as an avid YouTube watcher, by WWE putting Worlds Collide on YouTube, that was the best introduction because it didn't cost you anything but time to watch it. And I noticed at one time there's about 400,000 people watching. I've been over to the AAA YouTube channel, and I've been to their website. You know why I can't use their website? Because it's all in Spanish. Unfortunately, I failed Spanish class, and I have no clue what they're talking about. I know a little bit of, mira, maricona. I know the stuff that I'm not supposed to know, okay? But I don't know enough to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enjoy Lucha Libre style wrestling. So with WWE introducing it to us, I think that most people who watched AAA or who have heard about Lucha Libre, I think that it's going to be their first, that Worlds Collide. And if you have not watched it, once you're done with this, go ahead and watch it on YouTube. I promise you, you will not be disappointed, especially when you look at the main event between Chad Gable and El Hijo de Vikingo, the son of the Viking. That's pretty much what his name means. I told you I do know a little bit of Spanish. The son of the Viking. And I got his name written down here. His name is Vikingo. Yeah, Vikingo, El Hijo de, whatever his name is. But I think that WWE is definitely talking about striking while the iron's hot. They got this intellectual property, and they're not sitting on it. They're running with it, and they're going to make money off of it. That main event match alone shows the reason why Chad Gable belongs. Look, they could have put anybody in that match. They could have put a John Cena. They could have put a Randy Orton. They could have even put Rey Mysterio. But what they did was they chose somebody who is not, I don't think has gotten his real fair shake in the WWE. And that person is Chad Gable. Chad Gable went out there yesterday and put on a clinic in the ring. And me being a semi-retired pro wrestler and having been trained in pro wrestling, just watching the way that Chad Gable worked and worked in the ring with Vikingo, it was just like, you know what? Chad Gable got to get himself a hand clap. Listen. WWE for years, that was for Chad Gable. WWE for years has built up this whole entire bubble, and they called the bubble the WWE Universe. And only things that matters are things that they allow in the universe. There was no mention of TNA. There was never a mention of AEW. They don't mention the Indies, right? They don't mention Lucha Libre. They don't mention anything other than what's happening in the confines of the four corners of a WWE ring. WWE doesn't. But now in this new era that we're getting, WWE is bursting the bubble and letting us know that, hey, there's more things out there than the WWE, and we want to make money off of it. They're in bed with TNA, and I think for right now that TNA is having a much better relationship with WWE than they had with AEW. The reason why I don't think, that's a whole entire episode. I'm not going to spill it right now, but I'm just going to give you this little tidbit here. The only reason that the AEW and TNA partnership never worked is because AEW was still trying to figure out the identity and TNA was still trying to survive. The best reason right now why I think the TNA and the WWE partnership is working right now is because WWE has an identity that's 50 years long, right? Going way back to the WWF. WWE has an identity. TNA is just trying to survive, and WWE is the perfect person to throw them the lifeline. The most incorrect person to throw TNA a lifeline was AEW, because you know what? They were just learning how to operate their boat. So with that said, WWE owning AAA and not absorbing it for the library content, which they own, right? They own the content. They're utilizing it as a separate brand to still have that Mexican. You know what? Maybe WWE doesn't have to go to Mexico underneath the WWE banner anymore. Maybe what WWE will do is that they will just have AAA go down there and have another Worlds Collide and then put the bigger stars in there together. That's all a possibility. Because watching AAA and listening to Conan, arriba la raza, Vatos Locos forever, man. He was one of the announcers next to Corey Graves, the English announcers. He's a luchador, right? He's a retired pro wrestler, right? He's wrestled in Mexico. He's Mexican, friends with Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, all of them, right? Conan is no slouch when it comes to wrestling in America or in Mexico. I think that Conan, when they go forward for the announce team, I think that Conan is the best person to have because he understands the heritage. Now, granted, I don't think that Conan was the best that night. I don't think that he was any worse than Jesse Ventura, but I think that Conan's purpose was to let everybody know that AAA didn't just start. Even though AAA started and launched in 1993, it doesn't have that long lineage. You understand that AAA has been around longer than WCW? You understand that AAA has been around longer than TNA? And obviously, AAA has been around longer than AEW. AAA is the best company for them to get in bed with the WWE because they have a tried and true brand. They have that sports entertainment-esque quality about them, but now you're going to mix it into the Mexican style of lucha libre. I think that Conan was the perfect person. I'm going to go back on that again. Conan was the perfect person because he understood the culture that lucha libre is. He was able to teach us. Granted, he did talk more than he should have, and he wanted to tell the stories. He couldn't shorten them up. But you know what? I'm glad that we were able to get Conan. Here's my question. Did you watch Worlds Collide? And if so, was it your first time watching Lucha Libre? I'm talking about watching an event from start to finish. Now, remember, I said I used to watch it, right? I used to watch Lucha Libre all the time, but I never sat there and watched it from start to finish. I used to watch Lucha Libre with the volume off and just play music because I don't know what they're talking about. But this is my first real time that I sat down and I was able to enjoy it for what it was because I was able to understand what it was all about. But Vikingo and Chad Gable, I think that was a great match. Chad Gable worked like he was a main eventer. Too bad he didn't get an opportunity in the Money in the Bank. Maybe someday down the future he can be a Money in the Bank winner. He didn't just keep up with Vikingo's chaos. He was able to ground it. And if this guy, Chad Gable, is not wearing the Intercontinental Gold by the summer, maybe the end of the year, we are going to riot. So quick hits. Dominic Mysterio, they booked a quick impromptu match of Octagon Jr. It proves that Octagon Jr. and Dominic Mysterio can really wrestle. But are we allowed to say that Dominic Mysterio is really the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time? I think that Penta, he looked like a breakout star, but is he stuck in that highlight-only zone? And Jey Uso. Jey Uso is the world champion, and is he finally growing into it? And I got one more and. R-Truth. Is R-Truth dead? Is it now Ron Killings? We're just going to have to keep watching to find out. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Tristan Law Show. I had so much fun joining you. If you like what I did today, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Don't make me a little dirty secret. Make sure that you call the Pro Wrestling Hotline. That's not the Pro Wrestling Hotline. That's not the Pro Wrestling Hotline either. I want you to call the Pro Wrestling Hotline if you got something that you want to say. 973-826-0101. Be a part of the show. Complain about anything in pro wrestling or praise it. I'll be back on Tuesday. I'm Tristan Law. This is the Tristan Law Show, and I'll see you next time.
Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive.